Well, it's finally here. Kind of. With today's Windows 11 update, what we previously looked at as Copilot for Windows in the Windows Insider program has been released to the masses as Microsoft Copilot, a Bing chat-powered AI companion accessible from right within Windows 11. So in this video, I'm going to take you through how you can accelerate the process of getting it if you're not seeing it yet, share my first reactions to using it, and try to contextualize this latest AI release for Microsoft in the bigger picture of its AI ambitions and how, looking at this new product and its Copilot rebrand, this may be changing from where we expected it to be just a few months ago. The TLDR is this. Microsoft Copilot as an app in Windows neither does anything significant to move the needle from where it was as an insider preview feature, nor does it move the needle in any broadly usable way from what you can already do with Bing Chat Sidebar. How this potentially relates to the broader AI landscape is probably the more interesting part of this release. So if you want to jump ahead to after the product demo, I've added chapters below. But if you want to see how this works, strap in. As always, I'm demoing these features in environments set up for that purpose, and any data you see is either publicly accessible or created specifically for demonstration purposes. Look out for an upcoming video where I'll give you an update on why I've now started adding this disclaimer to my videos, or follow me on LinkedIn to see that tale sooner there. So to get started, you can head on over to your search pill on the Windows 11 desktop. And we're going to search for check for updates, but I already have it here. You just type updates into the box if you don't have it here, and just click on it. And that'll open the Windows Update panel. And if it doesn't show you any updates immediately, you can click on check for updates. So the one that we're going to be interested in is the September 2023 cumulative update preview for Windows 11. And I do believe that you'll need this get the latest updates as soon as they're available turned on in order to be downloading preview updates. But depending on when you last updated your machine and what you have set up in terms of updates on your Windows 11 machine, you may have a few things here that you need to download. And after a little while, when it has finished downloading, you'll then have to restart. Thanks for watching. Please do remember to hit the like button so we can share this content with as many interested people as possible. And if you want to see more like this, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you'll know the next time I release a video. Also, if there are people in your wider network who might be interested in this, please consider sharing it there too. Thanks. So upon installing that update, Copilot didn't appear immediately, but after a couple of forced restarts and adding a Microsoft account to this Windows login, this is actually a local login that I'm using here because this is a virtual machine that I have in Azure just for the purposes of this demo, I was able to finally restart, and we can see that Windows Copilot is now here. So do stick with it. If you're not seeing it immediately, it may just take a couple of restarts or getting yourself logged into the right accounts. My understanding was it should work with a work or school account, but perhaps you still need to be logged into a Microsoft account as well. So once you're in Windows, you can see that we have this Copilot preview down the bottom, and we can open this up. Okay, so once you open Copilot, you can see it pops up in a window to the side of your screen in exactly the same way that we saw when we looked at the Windows Copilot in the Insider preview. And the big difference that we're seeing here is obviously it's now called Copilot. We now have Bing Chat Enterprise in here, and obviously if you're just connected in with a Microsoft account, you won't see Bing Chat Enterprise, but because I have a work account connected on this machine, it's showing me Bing Chat Enterprise. I also now have an add an image option, and I have a microphone. So conceptually you can press this microphone and talk to Bing. So let's see if this works. Can you tell me what you can help me do in Windows?
Sure, I can help you with various tasks in Windows. Here are some of the things I can do for you. I can launch any of the installed apps on your Windows system, such as Microsoft Edge, WordPad, Paint, etc. Just tell me the name of the app you want to open and I will present a dialog box to launch it for you. I can change some of the settings on your Windows system, such as the volume level, the Bluetooth mode, the color theme, the Do Not Disturb mode, etc. Just tell me what setting you want to change.
Well, that was cool. It seems like it's kind of given up on talking to me. So let's see if it can do any of those things. Launch Edge at the website www.microsoft.com.
Searching for www.microsoft.com. I have asked you to confirm if you want to launch Microsoft Edge app. You can interact with the dialog box to make your choice. If you choose yes,
and there we go. Well, that's useless. Open Outlook.
searching for Outlook.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like you to do that. You're giving me two different options now. No, I don't specifically have Outlook. I haven't installed it on this clean machine. Oh, there we go. So it's got the Microsoft 365 app signed into one account. I've got obviously my Bing chat over here signed into a different account. This is now serving me up ads, so that's cool. So here's a web page giving me some information on the Paint upgrade that we got in today's Windows release. So let's see what Copilot can do with this. Can you summarize this web page for me? And it now appears to have given up on speaking, even though I requested the summary by speaking to it. Can you speak this response?
I'm sorry, but I can't speak this response. I can only communicate with you through text. If you want to hear the text, you can use the built-in text-to-speech feature of Windows. To do that, you can select the text you want to hear, press Windows logo, key plus Control plus U to open the narrator settings, and then click on Read selected text. Alternatively, you can use an online text-to-speech service such as this one. I hope this helps.
So it's literally telling me by speaking that it cannot speak. And this one is not a link, so I'm just out of luck if I really want to see what's going on there. Can you change my screen to dark mode? And it asks me, would you like to switch to dark mode? It doesn't ask me, it just puts up this button, and there you go, it switches to dark mode. That's great, but I'm doing it with my voice. I then have to click something. I don't really get what the benefit of that is. Are you able to create images for me?
Yes, I am able to create images for you using my own imagination and knowledge. You can ask me to create an image based on a prompt, such as a sunset over the ocean or a cute cat wearing a hat. I will try to generate an image that matches your request as closely as possible. However, please note that I cannot guarantee the quality or accuracy of the images I create, as they are purely artistic expressions and not based on any existing images. If you want to create images using existing photos or graphics, you can use some of the graphic design software that I found for you in the previous search results. For example, you can use Inkscape or GIMP to edit vector or raster images, respectively. You can also use some of the online tools that I found for you, such as this one, to create unique images for social media or other purposes. I hope this helps.
So bear in mind, this chat is connected to Bing Chat Enterprise, which is logged in using a E5 level Microsoft 365 subscription. And I'm being presented with an option to buy CorelDRAW or Corel Paint Shop Pro. I wasn't even aware that Paint Shop Pro still exists. That's good to see. I enjoyed using that 20 years ago. But my point being that this version of Windows apparently has a big upgrade to Paint, and yet Bing Chat Enterprise, and I do have to emphasize the enterprise aspect of that, is suggesting that I should go to Amazon to buy Paint Shop Pro. Can you open Microsoft Paint?
Sure, I can help you open Paint app. Please interact with the dialog box to confirm your choice.
So I cannot, let's see if I can. Yes, go ahead and open it. So it seems to have given up on speaking now, but it says that it's opened the Paint app. It doesn't appear to have opened the Paint app. So I guess I'm not able to continue my dialogue with it speaking to it. Let's try this again. Create an image of a dog sitting in a flower bed.
I'll try to create that.
There we go, that's quite nice. We have a nice dog sitting in a flower bed. I mean, you cannot fault the fact that you're getting this for free in Bing. And obviously you would be paying some money if you were doing this directly with OpenAI. So that is a real benefit of using Bing Chat, particularly if you're creating images like this. There are benefits like that there. I wonder if I can copy this and come back over to here and paste this in. There we go. I've got my nice image of a dog. And I know there are now some features to help me get rid of the background. So let me see if this can help me do that. Can you help me remove the background of an image in Microsoft Paint?
Searching for remove background of an image in Microsoft Paint. Yes, I can help you remove the background of an image in Microsoft Paint. There are different methods you can use depending on the version of Paint you have and the type of background you want to remove. Here are some possible ways. If you have Windows 10, you can use Paint 3D. Then you can follow these steps to remove the white.
I'm bored with this now. So there we go. That is utterly useless. It doesn't seem to even be able to help me to use the software that has come with the literal Windows update that this is included in. And it's giving me options for if I run Windows 10 when this feature is part of Windows 11. So we've talked a lot about how context is incredibly important to AI. It is incredibly important to AI. Copilot doesn't have the context of what's going on in your operating system. So frankly, overall, this is another AI demo I rate as disappointing. I like Bing Chat. I think it can do some cool things and I use it every day. But for me, what got released in Windows is Bing Chat in a dedicated window with some extra ads rather than something truly revolutionary. You have Satya Nadella talking about this product. Well, I think it was this product. I guess that still isn't entirely clear, and we'll get to that. As if it were a groundbreaking wonder, but it's actually Bing Chat with a couple of extra bells and whistles, along with some frustrating limitations. In my opinion, this is something that could have done well to stay in the Insider program until it was more feature-rich, and just sticking a preview badge on it is not an excuse when you've decided to push it out to almost everyone. When I was researching for my book, Who's in the Copilot Seat? There's a link below to sign up for release notifications, by the way. I looked into the story of Microsoft's AI history. This included its acquisition of Nuance, which is a company that, among other things, sells voice recognition software that's used in places like doctors' clinics and lawyers' offices. This software is specialised, is expensive, and has found a niche where it's bounded by a specific set of data that makes it readily usable for people looking for efficiencies in those industries. But the interesting part of this story is it's connected to another AI revolution. In the late 1990s and perhaps into the early 2000s, voice-to-text dictation for the PC was everywhere, and it was fairly cheap for the time. I seem to remember a Microsoft Office CD costing in the hundreds of pounds. I was still in the UK back then, but something like Dragon NaturallySpeaking would cost less than £100 and come bundled with a headset, as no one had microphones on their computers back then. While it certainly wasn't a ubiquitous technology, it wasn't uncommon to see people sat at desks shouting slowly worded phrases into a headset, and then something, more often than not something other than the words they spoke, would appear on screen in Microsoft Word. I remember trying this for some projects late in my high school career, for example, so you could tell from my youthful looks that it definitely wasn't that long ago. So why did we all stop shouting at our PCs and then just type in what we really wanted? Because it wasn't all that good as a technology. Some who had very specific uses and trained it well got along with it really well, but for others it was just a gimmick, and we just moved on to whatever the next tech buzz was. But what happened to Dragon NaturallySpeaking? Well, nothing. The company was acquired a couple more times and ended up with Nuance. And then Microsoft bought them to bolster its AI capabilities. In some ways, my conversation with Microsoft Copilot that you saw just now is the direct descendant of the frustrating conversations with PCs of the late 90s. Essentially, those doctors' offices and lawyers are using that same technology, just refined over time by their specific need and their deep pockets, rather than to satisfy my desire to spend $100 and get a free headset. The question is, why am I telling you a story about ancient tech somewhat connected to today's AI that was in fashion back when I was in high school? Well, I'm getting to that, and I think it explains where we are with some of the technology choices the likes of Microsoft and Google are making today. With today's demo of an underwhelming Microsoft Copilot in Windows and last week's massive upgrade of Bard that turned out to be anything but, I think we have to ask the question of whether there is actually a true economy in the big tech companies bringing truly transformative technology to their free tier products. Is there actually enough money there to make it make sense? And even if there is, do they have a model to leverage it? After all, we know that AI is pretty damn expensive, and I'm sure you can't serve up too many DALL-E generated dog images on the revenue you get from a couple of Paint Shop Pro ads. At the root of this is, how do companies like Microsoft make money on this stuff? We can see there's a massive competition going on around AI. Just yesterday it was announced that Amazon has the option of investing $4 billion in Claude Maker Anthropic. But right now, I'm not sure any of the tech companies really have clarity on where exactly they see payback on the eye-watering investments they are needing to make just to stay in this race. When ChatGPT arrived last year, it was truly a technology revolution. And I believe the excitement that people like Nadella and Yusuf Mehdi or their peers at Google or Amazon are expressing around this tech is truly sincere. But then, dollar by dollar, the reality of these tools hit these companies like a freight train, and suddenly the drive moved from those with the technical know-how, and leaders like Nadella definitely have technical know-how, to the people tasked with the marketing and PR around these issues. The only way Microsoft or Google or Amazon make money from AI is to pull a lot of money out the deep pockets of corporations. No family I know is going to add a $30 a month Microsoft 365 Copilot license to their M365 family plan. But these companies also need to keep those consumers excited about AI, and thus we have the constant news cycle of announcement after announcement to keep this tech in the public zeitgeist, and to keep a Microsoft or a Google at the front of the pack. On some subconscious level, even if you've never used Copilot, you might be more likely to buy an Xbox because you are generally aware that Microsoft seems to be winning on some tech or other right now. So, if the riches aren't in the mass market, are they in the niches? This is where I get back to Nuance. Eventually, Dragon NaturallySpeaking vanished from the mass market along with the craze of talking to the computer, but continued to penetrate into high-revenue businesses and enterprise, where it stays to this day. This is why Microsoft's announcement around Microsoft 365 Copilot is so important. The event last week had two real headlines. We get what we see today, everyone gets it, and it comes quickly to continue excitement in the mass market around AI. But ultimately, Copilot in Windows, like Bard's extension, is of very limited utility. Alongside this though, headline number 2 was the general availability of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So what will we see November 1st? Well, unless you're an enterprise working on a Microsoft Enterprise Agreement or some other equivalent purchasing tier, and you're willing to buy at least 300 Copilot licenses for about $108,000 a year, what you'll see November 1st will be a fat lot of nothing. Despite stating that business tier licenses that can only be used by organisations up to 300 users would be applicable base licenses for Microsoft 365 Copilot at launch, and stating that clearly and frequently over the last few months, I do not believe any organisation reliant on business tier licensing will be applicable for Microsoft 365 Copilot on November 1st. We don't know when they will be, and more importantly, I now don't know if they will be, as some of the latest Microsoft 365 Copilot help docs don't even list Business Standard and Business Premium licenses as applicable prerequisites. On top of that, at last week's event, there was suggestion of a small business and consumer tier of Microsoft 365 Copilot, which could imply that there are two distinct products, depending on what category of user you fall into. I've seen some discussion around this issue suggesting that for Copilot's semantic index capabilities to work well requires a certain quantity of business data that is most likely to be achieved by organisations big enough to buy 300 licenses sight unseen, or those who have already been part of the early access program. I can't confirm this, but at this point I'm fairly sure that neither my business or most of the businesses I work with will even be in the running to buy Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses on November 1st. Ultimately, I have to believe that with tools like Semantic Index, which helps Copilot understand the data in your tenant, there has to be some economy of scale for Microsoft, making it make sense to do the foundational work of building those vector indices that go beyond what is existing by default in the Microsoft Graph, for companies signing on to $100,000 of extra spend per year versus those looking to buy just a few licenses. For this reason, what we see in Bard and in Microsoft Copilot in Windows probably isn't representative of what the enterprise-grade offerings in both of these lines can do, just as Dragon NaturallySpeaking for Home wasn't representative of what the doctors and lawyers saw from that technology over time. The big question that then remains is getting Microsoft 365 Copilot outside of big enterprises just a matter of time, potentially for Microsoft to scale and boost the efficiency of its resources? Or is it a matter of getting a distinct but similar product that is more appropriate to the scale of smaller businesses, both in terms of their potential spend and how they organise their data? The vast majority of businesses will have to keep waiting for these tools, but I think they will come, and we shouldn't judge the impact they may have on how we work by the efficacy we see in something like Microsoft Copilot for Windows or Bard's extensions. These are not bad tools. They're amazing in very objective ways in comparison to where we were with similar capabilities only a few years ago, but they do fail to live up to both the hype around this technology and the overall promise of it. I'll keep using Bing Chat every day, whether from the web or using the Microsoft Copilot sidebar, but I'm certainly not going to bother trying to control my experience of using my PC with it, at least not yet. I believe in these products. I just think there's a huge potential that what we're seeing is down to marketers' objectives of keeping everyone's eyes on their respective businesses, rather than the output of tech geniuses who truly believe their product is finished. What do you think? Does my narrative of the situation resonate with you? Or do you think differently about the products we are seeing come to market? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching through to the end. That ended up being a slightly longer and more complicated video than I was initially planning, but I found that I had a lot of different dots to connect together after I'd tried out the Copilot experience in Windows 11. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I'll keep putting out content on this topic, of course. Until then, bye bye.